First of all, my name is Hector Barajas Varela. I served in the U.S. Army for almost 6 years as a paratrooper with the 82nd Airborne. Originally from Fresnillo, Zacatecas. I was born in Mexico. And I came to the United States as a legal resident when I was 7 years old. Joined the military at 18, and right now we're in Tijuana, Baja California. And I'm the founder and director of a support house for veterans that have been deported. And we currently have veterans deported to 30 different countries, all the way from the Vietnam War to current Iraq and Afghanistan. And we've had veterans deported since 1996. Originally I got deported for discharging a firearm to a vehicle. I did 3 years in prison, and that's what led to my deportation in 2004. Right now we're fighting for our benefits. I have VA appointments in San Diego and Los Angeles, but I'm able to go because I'm deported for life. So the only benefit I have right now is when I die, I'm going to be buried as an American. The government's going to pay for all my burial plot and my VA marker, my headstone. So I think it's a travesty that only when we die we can be buried as Americans, when we put our lives on the line for our country. Well, originally when I got been deported twice. In 2004, the first time I didn't stay in Mexico because I felt out of place and felt like I didn't want to stay and I wanted to go back with my family. And I ended up going back to the United States and lived there and worked for the union as a roofer. I was making $31 an hour, and I got caught in 2009 again. The first time I got deported for 20 years, and the second time I got a life deportation. With the life deportation, I decided to pretty much tell my story, my situation. I had already been in contact with a group that was forming about deported veterans in San Diego, and I finally started getting involved with the media, with social media, opened up a support house, and it's been very hard because some of it to adjust because you're in a different country that you don't really, where you've never lived before, and there is some stigmatism about you being from the United States or because you've been deported because you're a criminal, in a sense. But the most difficult part has been being separated from loved ones, have a 9-year-old child, not being able to be there for her when she needs me, and that's been the most difficult part, being separated from the family. And for most people, that's the hardest part. You're accustomed to a certain lifestyle, now that's taken away from you. You can readapt, but it's very difficult especially for soldiers, because they come back with a lot of post-traumatic syndrome, a lot of mental and psychological problems when they come out of the military. Adding to that, most of the guys that are getting deported have been into some kind of trouble with the law, so they're coming out of institutions, state prison, federal prison. So most of these guys are even more damaged, and then they get put into an environment where they're not getting any treatment for their PTSD or for their addictions or those kind of things, and even physical damage when they're in the military. So it makes it more difficult than the average person that gets deported with. It's all trauma, regardless of whether you serve it or not. As far as supporting each other, well, we can actually relate to a lot of the things that, being separated from our families and being having observed in the military, so that's a bond that we have, and makes it easier to get along and sometimes argue. But it helps out having observed, because we have that common, those common things.
Yeah, being separated from your family has to be the most horrible things in the world, because if you look at it, you'll see that our family, our loved ones, they're the people we basically live for, work for, and having, things of looking forward to in life. Seeing your kids grow up, grandchildren, in my case, grandchildren. So it's devastating what it does, not only to you, but we're men and we could probably suck it and take it, but what it does to them, especially, for instance, the mothers of my grandchildren, my daughters, you know, it's very hard for them to understand and comprehend how so much injustice can go on, you know, towards them. They feel like they've had something taken. So it's very frustrating to be able to not be able to fill that void when you're gone, because you know you're missed over there. You know, things that people normally do, you know, especially on special days like birthdays, Christmas, Easter, holidays. You know, having that empty chair at the table is very significant in a lot of families, and mostly to the people that are emotionally attached to you. Like I said, your loved ones. So how do we together deal with this? Well, we can relate in the sense that we try to keep it together here, and we try to keep ourselves living as a family, because the same way, say, for instance, my director here might have family problems, Felix might have other issues. It all boils down to that. It boils down to that we belong somewhere else with our family, not here, so we can relate to them. We start, you know, sometimes we laugh, sometimes, you know, we cry together, we suffer together, we try to get together. So it's really more like an emotional support group in that aspect that you're talking about, and we try to help each other out the best we can.
The razors, that's the immediate need as far as for the house in general. Boxers, you know, socks, briefs, for the, you know, hygiene stuff mostly for the guys that don't live
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to feel.